Hello, welcome to the show. I'm Jacquelene Closemore. You're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. I'm coming to you live from my lounge room. Usually my son gets me to try and hide the pentagram type stuff and all these sorts of things. But it's sort of like, you know what? You just have to kind of accept your mum's a bit of a weirdo. Anyhow, we were talking about the Empress last time I was on and you know, how that relates to the mother principle, all these sorts of energies. And today we've actually moved on to the Major Arcana card of the Emperor. So it's a bit sort of difficult because of the lighting, but with that card, you see dude on the throne. So he's literally the Emperor. He's kind of like the king. He's boss man, right? So this is like, if we want to look at the Empress card as mummy of the Major Arcana, hello, daddy. So many connotations to that word. Anyhow, so when we're looking at the Emperor card, we've kind of got this energy of kind of a dude in power, dude in charge. And when we sort of think of back in feudal times and even sometimes some places around the world, even now, certain places, where, you know, you've got kind of this guy who's in charge of an area and, you know, may have people living there and they've got goats and yaks or whatever, and it's sort of like, right, this neighbour's fighting over that neighbour over how many, goats was due in a transaction or things like that. If we sort of think of, you know, in Western countries, your local mayor and tribunals and adjudicators and courts. So if we just think more of that sort of feudal thing of being the wise guidance counsellor, leader, you know, and people come with their issues and, you know, that wise guidance counsellor leader gives sort of practical solutions of how to fix this. All right, well, you owe them 5 camels, or you said bad things about that wife or husband, so give them some chickens. You know, it could be that. Now, obviously, Judge Judy operates a little bit differently, and, you know, we'll sort of talk about her. We're talking more about the Justice card. I'm just giving popular references here, not so much agreeing or disagreeing with how that show is and whether people are paid actors. But in any case, you know, when we're looking at the Emperor card, we're looking at, in the Kabbalah Tree of Life, the key, which in English means window. So it's like the reference point is window. So it's the 4 sides of a window. And the Emperor card is literally number 4. So in 4, we find practicality. We find, you know, the 4 walls of a house or a room. You know, it's sort of this linking to structure, stability, foundations, you know, these kinds of things. And in the sense of it being a window, if you think of last time I was talking about door, Empress being Daleth, which is door. You know, the door is you at the door going, all right, do I let this person in or keep them out? Or do I send these people who've been in out? Or do I invite these people in? You know, with window, it's literally considered this ability to see from inside the home out the window to who's coming down the path towards a door. Unless you live in an apartment with no door, you know, like no window on the where the door is, because that can happen. It's just like, oh, here's the door, that's it. But when you're sort of looking at housing generally, there's this idea of being able to see what's outside before you go to the door, or maybe a pane of glass down the side of the door, which, you know, we can talk about break-ins there, but you know, the idea is being able to see someone before you go and you give them admittance. So in that 4, when someone's doing a 4-year, it's like going inside the self. So not just the house, but the self, the house of the self, you know, like, oh, okay, I'm going within. Let's look at what's outside. Let's look at what I've been participating out there with, or what I might or might not want to participate with. But I'm going to sit here in reflection and see those dudes or people walking down the footpath towards my house. Well, do I answer the door? It's sort of this ability to reflect and take time. And that's what you're meant to do in a 4-year. So how do you work out what year number you're in? well, your day and your months of birth together. So add those. And then this year, 2022, is a 6 year. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. So when we talked about the Empress card number 2, this year is a 6, but it's got that sort of echoing of the twos, the 3 twos. So, but also it's got the 20 and then 2 2. So, you can break numbers down in many different ways and get a lot of symbols from them. But it's about, all right, well, what's hitting for me, what actually sits with me as being, that's really relevant right now. But when we're looking at a 4 year, once again, your day and month of birth, add that to the year you're in. And then if you're in a 4 year, this is going to, pretty much apply. And it's then how you deal with that makes more sort of purpose and sense to things. So when we're dealing with a 4 year, it's literally a choice to sit and reflect. It's looking at what is and is not supporting your journey, what is life-giving versus life-draining, and what are the things within yourself that are supporting others or not supporting them. So it's sort of, all right, how are they supporting me, but how am I supporting them? How am I supporting that? And what am I actually participating in? Is this actually fitting for me? So in a 4 year, it really plays to be very flexible. And if you imagine a 4 year, kind of like standing on the shoreline of the beach where, where that bit where the water's just coming up to the feet and it's like getting on your feet a bit. These are hands, I know, but so it's getting to about here. Here's the toes. Just imagine those are toes. And, here it is. Like, and there's sort of a pull under your feet. If the waves are particularly strong, it's like, whoa, like this. So when you're in a 4 year, you can't be like, I'm going to stand here rigidly while the tide just drags from under, because you're probably going to fall over and like face plant in the water. That could be, not great. So it actually pays to be flexible and kind of going, all right, yeah, okay. So that's where this rocking can happen. So if you sort of think of, if you've had a bit of a shock in life or things sort of like you're reassessing, it's like, okay, might just rock here a bit, and so, that can actually be a really good thing. If you sort of think of a rocking chair, when you're in a 4 year, rocking chairs are fantastic, Same with, those houses where you got like the swing on the front porch. It's like, oh, yes, this is just heaven. Because, who could really feel too bad for very long, rocking on a chair or on a swing? I don't know about you, but I am still a big kid. If the swing at the local playground will fit me and there's no one around, and, it's not going to break, I'm going to ride that thing like nothing on earth. Maybe a Ferris wheel as well. I'm into Ferris wheels. I digress, but let's get back to it. So the rocking motion can help when you're in a 4 year, because what you'll find in a 4 year, it's sort of like the tide going out at the beach. It's like, oh, where'd all of that go? Gosh. So some people can find that is kind of an instability in their work, or money can seem to drain out, or people can seem to drain out. A 4 year is sort of like, if you imagine some dude comes along and you got like cash and coins and keys in your pockets and they like shake you upside down. It's like, oh, how'd it come? So it's like anything that lasts 4 years, probably defying gravity, maybe. But anything that lasts a 4 year, it's meant to be there. You might not find things come in a 4 year. So it shakes the foundations down, but it also builds them up. So it can build new foundations for you, right? So this is where you might, in one career, start another. You might start studying for a career, but the tide will go out. So it seems like things are going out, but guess what? It comes back in again, right? So what do you do when the tide's out? Well, some people freak out, run around on the beach and just tear the hair out and step on a stonefish. Now that can obviously be fatal. So not recommended. Probably don't freak out if you can help it. If you do freak out, breathe. Just stop, breathe, realize you're freaking out. Just going to sit with this for a minute. Yeah. Maybe put on some Crocs. I know they're ugly, but they're pretty good on the sand. And then go about cleaning up stuff on the beach. You might find some, coins then. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. And, run around doing a bit of, not run, but patiently, calmly. But if you can run, great. But, go around cleaning stuff up. This is a good time to declutter in your life, be it actually your house. It could be your emotional space. It could be people around you. And maybe don't say that you're disappearing, go away, leave me alone, but it could be just taking some space for yourself while you readjust to where you now want this new foundation to go. And then once the waves start coming back in again, well, you've now got a nice clean beach. nice clean home, or a nice clean mind space to then ride the waves and ride the opportunities that are coming your way. So if you do a lot of hard work, then at the end of a 4-year, it sort of starts to pay back a bit in a good way. But 4 can also be a sort of sense of isolation. So there can also be a sense of needing rest. So you might need rest from people. So here in the 4 of Swords, you sort of see her just lying down. It's like, oh, I'm really tired. So there can be fatigue in a 4-year for people. And that's that sort of Swords one. Now, but also we can be, once again, building new foundations. So here we have a couple getting married. There's also a sense of community in that kind of card. Often a bringing together of people. 4 of Pentacles. I'm going to work so hard, I'm not going to go anywhere. So you can sort of see, hopefully, I might have to post these cards later so you can actually see them clearly. This is a 4 of Pentacles. So this dude is just sitting there. His legs are like concrete, not going anywhere. I'm going to just focus on the money. And it's very, very directed, right? It's a bit rigid to me. That's that thing I warned about. Because if a branch on a tree is like, and a tree itself is just like super dry, rigid, it'll snap in the wind, yeah. But if that branch is supple, it can move with the breeze and keep growing. Yeah, so try and keep it easy. 4 of Cups. And so she's looking a bit bored, really. It sounds like someone who's had kind of like, oh, no. It can be convalescing in that, but it's like, oh, I've got 3 of these, but do I want one more? Right? It's like, oh. You remember the old story of the 2 birds? One bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. It's sort of like if you have this thing, something going on in your life, and it's like you try reaching out for too much else. Is it all going to fly away? There's sort of a sense of having to contemplate that there, right? And this is a spiral tarot. It's a fantastic deck. It's actually an Australian deck. Go the Aussies. Anyhow. So there's sort of a sense of a need of rest, recovery, recuperation, consideration, taking your time, all of these sorts of things, yeah? That's how you can productively use that 4 without freaking out. If you do freak out, try not to freak out about freaking out. Sounds a lot easier than it can be. But if you kind of just go, all right, well, that was that moment, and I'm not going to give myself a hard time, I'm going to just pick up the next day and keep going, well, that can really help. Half of the anxiety can be the anxiety about the anxiety. So it's really important to support yourself through changing times. So that's just been a little bit of an insight into the Emperor card and its relationship to the minor arcana. I'm going to catch you next week and next time. Lots of love in the meantime. See you for now.